Did not mean to do that. Look at that. Let's go. Check, check, check. 1 2 1 2. Vator Games in the building. Let me go full screen on y'all. It's Vator Games. It's Vator Games TV. First things first. My people come first. My people, those that are here, those that are no longer here, thought of and always remembered. I'm your humble host, Vator Games. Hopefully the volume is clean. The audio is good. We've got a show that's been on demand. And I've been at fault for not bringing the show forward. I'm going to be the first to admit it's been a little hectic. But I want to do a few things different as we're now week 10, right? Game week 10. Things have kind of settled down. Work life, family life, social life balance. We can all figure that out. I'm challenging the City fans in my circle. If they can commit a little bit of their Sunday to this show would be great. And I'm not going to be overly demanding, right? I'm not going to be like, okay, I'm trying to do an hour and a half, hour 30 show. You must be here for an hour 30 or you must be here from the beginning. No, we're not going to do that. I'm going to ask anyone so gracious enough to join the show, to join when you can. And I'm going to make sure you got the proper introduction when you do. And conversation-wise, we're going to keep things flowing. Now, I'm going to make sure I sent everything out in the group chat. Apologies, I'm doing some of the admin stuff. Let me make sure that is all available and all that's out there. I got to say, I think it's fitting. I think it's fitting that this show is back after game week 10. I see a couple agents backstage. I'm going to bring them forward. I'm going to let them do their thing. No rush. Because let me reintroduce the show. All right, let me reintroduce CIA, Citeh Intelligent Agendas. All right, hopefully everything's looking good on your end. The agenda, targets, topics will be of the main clubs. The main clubs that I think are going to be challenging us in the Prem, especially from a Europe title winning. We're going to deal with all of those. So I'm going to make sure, let me add a screen here. The magic of that. Actually, maybe I should just share my screen. That's probably the easier way to do it. Share screen. And we're going to do that. All right. Hopefully that looks okay. Maybe I can enlarge this. And we'll just do it that way. Hopefully that's good. Should I expand it? Maximize? I take myself off screen. I'll do that when more join. But here's what we got to deal with. Here's exactly what we got to look at. The standings. The standings is what we got to focus on from top to bottom. And I'm going to ask, and let me introduce my first guest, actually. Let me introduce my first agent. Let me give you a little teaser on who this agent may be. Very, very passionate. Some challenge and say that they are a little frantic, right? Maybe on Monday, a little emotional with the result, but then on Tuesday, calm. I actually like that because you get the perspective of that initial reaction, and then you get the, you know what? I've done my homework, talked to a few people, taken a second, I've looked things over, and here's my take. Let me introduce the first agent coming to the show. All right, did you guys miss that? Did you guys miss that? Okay, you may have missed it. All right, let me show you guys that again. Kel's in the building. How are you?
I'm good, man. I just right after the game, I left my house and I just went for a little hike. So I just got back from the hike and beautiful day in the Nevada desert. It's November 2nd, 21 degrees Celsius. Just absolutely beautiful day.
Wow.
Yeah, we got a little heat wave.
Did you run out for the hike just to kind of like clear your head, or is it something you already had scheduled? It was already planned?
I knew I was going to go out at some point today just because this is like one of our last, like today, actually it's 23 out, not 20 degrees. Tomorrow's 20, but then it's going to start cooling off. So I had to go outside and get into this nice weather for a little bit.
I got you. Now, Kels, it's been a while since we've had CIA. I'm actually going to outline the structure to it for you and the viewers. Obviously, those that can join later, all the better. Those that are watching on the replay, please know what the format's all about. If you're wondering what the background is with regards to CIA, again, many want to say City aren't that club. City don't quite have that following. Listen. The numbers, these are actually 2024 numbers, not quite 2025 or as of today, but there's more than 1 billion followers of worldwide of Manchester City. We're not a small club in any regard. And if I want to take this off screen just for a second, I'm going to remove this. How do I remove if I make this small? No, wrong way. So you see where the City football group is all over the place. We've got hands everywhere, and this also represents the agents. We got many agents out in the field. We got Kels, we got myself, we got some others that I'll reintroduce a little later in the show, but we're everywhere. And the information that we're going to be discussing is with regards to the rivals. So let me bring this back up and discuss. Kels, when we look at the standings, real quick, when we look at the standings and we see currently at 6th place, so outside of Europe, we've got Chelsea, Tottenham, Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Arsenal. Which is the least threatening club? Chelsea, Spurs, Bournemouth. I don't think you would say Liverpool or Arsenal are least threatening, but Chelsea, Spurs, Bournemouth. Who do you think's the least threatening as of game week 10? Where we are, what you've seen, not only what you've seen, what you hear their fan base discussing. Do you think there's any concerns amongst those 3 clubs?
Not in particular. I think Bournemouth is definitely not. I think they're probably the least threatening. I think they're on a great run right now, and I do really rate their manager, but I do question them as the season progresses. Like,
okay.
Because I just don't think they have the track record. I don't know the manager's track record, but there's rumors that Semenyo could leave in January, and I think if that's the case, they're done for because he's basically their offensive output. But they are a very good team. They're very well structured. I do respect the manager. Tottenham is probably next on that list for me, just because Thomas Frank is just, I do really rate him highly as a manager. I think he did amazing things with Brentford, but this is just a new level for him. And they also have to balance European football. So that could be a big factor for them. Okay. I'm not sure they quite have the squad to contend for the Premier League while also being in the Champions League. And again, the manager's just a little inexperienced at managing like at a higher level club, but I do think he's quite good.
So
and Chelsea are just Chelsea. Yeah.
Bournemouth, Spurs, and Chelsea, you're going in least to weakest to strongest.
Yeah. Bournemouth at the bottom, then Spurs, and then Chelsea. I would say. I just don't.
Now I got another agent, and I want to get the other agent's perspective because again, as director of CIA right now, I just want to keep all the information top level. I want us to discuss it. This next agent, let me showcase it for you guys. And if you don't know, please hit the like button, be a part of the show. You can also be in the comments. If you disagree with what Kels or my next agent that comes to the stage, or even what I say with regards to weakest to strongest, let us know. But the next agent to join us is my man Conway in the building. What are you saying, Conway?
Yo, Vator, my guy. I'm good. What's up, Kels? I'm good, man.
Nice. Now, I'm not sure if you were able to hear. And again, continue to hit the likes, hit the comments, people. Do you agree? As we look at the standings right now, we see Chelsea 6th, Spurs 5th, Bournemouth 4th. Kels happens to think that it's more Bournemouth, Spurs, Chelsea in terms of weakest to stronger threats when it comes down to like the continuation of the league, of pursuing this league. Now we're game week 10. Do you happen to agree, disagree? Where do you see Chelsea? Where do you see Spurs? Where do you see Bournemouth?
I think Bournemouth are a very good side. I think they've done really, really well I think for majority of what the table have looked like so far this season, they've been in and around amongst the top four.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the ability of their manager Raiola to still have them win games after they've lost nearly majority of their back line in the summer window has been outstanding, man. I think Bournemouth will be fighting to get into the European places. I don't know whether they're going to get Champions League football. Ideally, if you're a Bournemouth fan, you're looking at to get the 7th position, which lands them
Yep.
in a Conference League spot. Spurs are in trouble. I think they've got a lot of players currently injured. I think Bournemouth are currently a stronger side than them. So I do see a world where Bournemouth finish above Spurs.
I'm
That's if
glad.
they don't.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, because that's where I
Yeah.
was going to challenge Kels a little bit, because I think Bournemouth being kind of slept on, right? Bournemouth not quite having the expectations to be in the mix like that. I think there's going to be an adverse effects with Thomas Frank and Spurs. I think there's going to be that you must, even with Chelsea. I know Chelsea are expected to be doing their thing, but they're always reminded they spent $2 billion. They spent $2 billion on this squad. They're going to be reminded, and I think someone that could kind of sneak through there. They play very good football. They're playing very good football despite losing some talent. I got them more threatening than Spurs, to be honest with you. And maybe a couple more games.
Wait, so you have Spurs above Chelsea in your opinion, Vale?
No, I would go. So threats, I got Spurs the least threatening.
Yeah.
Spurs is the least threatening. Then I'm actually, as of now, I'm kind of flirting with Bournemouth being more threatening than Chelsea.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it's not expected of Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Clubs aren't really good. I mean, we showed them respect. I think they're going to continue to be dangerous. I think they're going to continue to be dangerous. If I were to say right now, I'd switch it up. I'd go Spurs 6th. I go Chelsea, move up to 5th, and I'd keep Bournemouth there 4th.
Do you know, I disagree with your Chelsea take, though. I think, I don't know, this might be a hot take, but I consider Chelsea to be more of a threatening team than Liverpool.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Why I say that is because if you look at Chelsea's midfield, I think Chelsea's midfield is arguably one of the best midfields in the world. That is their strengthening point. Watching the game yesterday, you saw how they bullied Tottenham's midfield, and the game yesterday was won in the midfield. I think guys like Caicedo and I think Enzo over the past couple of games have been very solid. Their ability to bring someone like Romeo Lavia off their bench, and Lavia I rate highly, by the way. If they manage the minutes of Lavia and someone like Reece James very well, which I think Mersk has done a magnificent job in managing Reece James's minutes, that is how I think Chelsea can go up the table. But currently, they've been doing a good job with regards to that. I know they've lost some silly points like Sunderland and the Brightons, for example, where Chelsea dropped points in those games. But if they manage to keep those core players, the Reece James of the world, the Caicedos, the Cole Palmer, who's back in like 2 weeks. So these 3-4, and João Pedro as well, they managed to keep those 3-4 players fit and still have their midfield intact, the likes of Enzo, Caicedo, and bringing Lavia off bench. I think Chelsea could really be a more threatening side than Liverpool. Because Liverpool have a lot of issues in terms of their midfield.
Agent Conway, CIA Agent Conway just said that Chelsea could be more threatening than Liverpool. We're gonna have to continue. We're gonna discuss that a little later. Because if you say that, then, and Conway just had to drop for a second, as he says that, then does he continue to see this slide that we've been seeing from Liverpool?
He might, yeah. Maybe. I feel
Conway,
like Chelsea is I feel like there's out of the 6 teams that you've mentioned, I feel like Liverpool or Bournemouth and Tottenham are very clearly the 5th and the 6th. It's up to discretion if you want 5th or 6th. One reason I'm always a little scared of Tottenham is because they always show up against us and they tend to not show up against our rivals. So maybe that's kind of tilting them more. Like they always give us a game. It doesn't matter who their manager is. They're just like a bogey team for us. And I feel like we always perform very well against Bournemouth. Like I think we've dropped points to them once ever, and that was last season when we lost.
Yeah.
That's the only time we've ever dropped points to them since they've gotten promoted. If I remember that correctly. So but I feel like Chelsea's on like a much high, like Chelsea for me is like very solidly who I'm picking to finish fourth in the table this season. And then I feel like Liverpool, Arsenal, City is going to be, those are going to be the top three. The order, I don't know yet.
See, so maybe this is just an angle of mine because I'm thinking that there's a spoiler somewhere. I'm thinking that something goes against the traditional finish or what is of expectation. I think Sunderland will fade away. I think they do fade away.
I do too.
United, as hype as they are, as many want to talk about them being in this title race. If Chelsea are in it, United are in it. Stop it, guys. Stop it. United fans, let's be balanced for a second. I know you guys want to get hyped up. I know you've been starving for success. This isn't the season for it, and this isn't the season for it because I think when we talk about, and again, how we assess over here at CIA is not only do we assess the clubs, but we got to assess the manager, we assess the players, we look at their fixtures, and United, yes, all you're playing for is FA Cup and the league. I get it, one game a week. But the amount of pressure that a fan base puts on the club has to be, we put that in consideration. We think about that all the time. And again, that's a big reason as we get further in the show when we talk about Arsenal and why Arsenal have had their failures, in my humble CIA opinion, has been because of the fragility, because of the weakness, the lack of spine of the Arsenal fan base. I think that's why they've been 20 years plus not having the success that they wanted, especially the last 3-4 years. They should have powered on, but you can hear it. You would hear it in the game when you watch games. You would hear how nervy their fan base was. So not just what we talk about online, not just the people we interact with, but also the match going fans. They weren't built for it the last few seasons. Maybe it's different now. But when we talk about Arsenal, we'll get into it. I think Chelsea and their fan base, you talk about Maresca in, Maresca out, and that was a conversation we can't ignore. That was a conversation when they were suffering all their red cards, when they dropped points versus United, because that was unthinkable, right? That should never happen. I think the fragility of the fan base is why there's gonna be a spoiler out here, and I'm going to go on record. I will make sure that I earmark this, I bookmark it. I'm going on record as Bournemouth are ahead of Spurs and Chelsea. I've noted what Conway had to say. I've noted what Kells have to say. But I think that's where I'm going to place it right now. Now, I want to ask you guys, when it comes down to Chelsea, Conway.
Yeah.
Who's the main factor? What's the main, you know what, if I see this happening on a regular basis, things are flowing with said player or maybe said manager. What is the key for you with regards to, you know what, Chelsea are that troublesome club if this happens? What's that for you?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think if you see, if I start seeing a run of games where, and I know recently Liam Delap just came back and he got a red card against Wolves, which is why he couldn't feature against Spurs yesterday. But if I see games where Liam Delap and João Pedro develop a sort of a partnership where they could, I think Cole Palmer's better off on the right. And João Pedro just plays sort of a second striker or a number 10 role behind Liam Delap. I think if there's a run of games where those two get firing and you see that they've developed a connection, then you'll start to understand how threatening or how more threatening Chelsea can be from an attacking sense. So once I do start seeing that, if I do see that any point during the season, then that will just only enhance my point about them being a more threatening team than Liverpool. But obviously they haven't had the chance to do that since Liam Delap's been injured for a while.
Conway, I like that. I like that agenda because Liam Delap is an academy player. I like that you want to.
I've always rated him.
No, I rate him too. I didn't want him to go to Chelsea. I wanted them to go somewhere else, not have to be reminded of how quality is. Because again, even from an academy standpoint, he was part of that batch of talent that were having really good success. So I didn't have any doubt for him. the good thing about him being at Chelsea is that he is going to get those striker moments, opportunities, and minutes, right? So
Yeah.
it's good career wise. I just hate that it had to be Chelsea. Kels, different question. Where are the weaknesses over at Chelsea? Where's their vulnerability? What are the factors that are going to be like, you know what? If they don't get their success, it's because of these main factors. Who do you want to point out in terms of like the weaknesses for Chelsea?
Oh, it's definitely their center backs. I think them losing who was it? Cole, what was his face? I forget the guy who got injured at the beginning of the season.
Was it Cahill?
Colwell?
Colwell?
No, Cole.
Yep.
Something like that. I keep thinking, yeah, I'm confusing with
Just call him Levi. Just call him Levi. Just call him Levi.
Yeah. I think their center backs are very poor. Losing Colwell was really, really bad for them. You can't really count on Fofana. I don't think he's had a lot of really devastating injuries, and also their keeper. Despite some Chelsea fans who want to say that their keeper is better than Donnarumma, I'm not naming any names, but you know who I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's crazy. No, we'll name names over at CIA. We'll name names at CIA. Listen, the fact that you got Don, I get it. You got to defend your club. You got to back. You got to rep, but. Nah, you're looking silly. You're looking silly trying to say that Sanchez is better than Donnarumma. That you don't have the evidence for.
You can't even be entertaining that conversation.
Yeah, that guy.
No, it's got to be shut down. Conway, I agree. It's got to be shut down
immediately.
Ridiculous.
I just don't rate him as a keeper, and so I think that combined with the shaky defense, I do think they have a decent set of fullbacks. Cucurella is a pretty decent player. Reece James, when he plays right back, is good, but when he plays as a right back, that's when he tends to get more injured. But I noticed that Maresca is playing him more in the midfield now, probably to have less running, less sprinting. So that's probably helping keeping his fitness.
That's a good answer.
And I think Malo Gusto is a little underrated too. I think he's a pretty decent fullback. But their center backs I just don't rate. They've got some young kids in there. You know, young kids is hard to rely on if you're trying to win titles. And also historically, Chelsea are more of a cup team, so maybe their strong midfield and strong front line will help them get a cup. But I would not. I just don't think they're ready yet to go for a league. I think you have to really. I think next year is the year that they go for the league. You know, they'll probably make a few more signings.
I'm with you. I question even with regards to their Garnacho signing. Like, there's a point where, I get it. You're doing the business, you're doing the calculations, you're doing the player flip, but in terms of making them stronger to win something, I don't see it. And I want to pull up real quick Chelsea's matches. They've got their next match.
I think they've got an easy run of fixtures.
No, but they one of the hardest schedule or one of the easiest schedules to start the season, and they still dropped a bunch of points. So I think
they dropped points with an easy start. I agree. That's great. That's a great point.
They dropped points at Preferred. I think they dropped points at Fulham,
Now they have
Brighton, maybe, but some of these games you're like, oh, they haven't gone to Anfield yet.
But you know what we forget though?
What's that?
Just a quick point, Do you know what we forget? I think we forget the effect of Chelsea not only going to the final but winning the Club World Cup. The effect that had on these players, because you're not just seeing with us earlier in the season with some of our players not being fully fit due to the fact that we had to compete in the tournament, but we got knocked out way earlier compared to Chelsea actually won the whole tournament. So I saw likes of Caicedo and other players who were very, very lethargic on the pitch, but you can tell that these guys didn't even have the opportunity to have a natural or traditional preseason compared to a tournament where you have to try your all best to win the amount of money that was available to win that Club World Cup. And it's had a huge effect on these players, a huge toll. I think you have to take that into consideration. That's me removing my bias, not talking ill of other clubs.
No, that's good. That's good. We're not agenda all the time at CIA. We're not agenda all the time. That's a good point. I mean, we suffer. I think we're still suffering of that, but we're on the other side of it with regards to how we had to focus on the Club World Cup. But I think that probably compounded their injuries. I think that's also another reason why. And
it's not just Chelsea, by the way. You look at other clubs like PSG who have had a lot of key injuries to a lot of their key players at the start of the season.
Now, Kels, Conway, excellent breakdown. I think with you guys having Chelsea as the higher threats, it makes a lot of sense. And Kels reminded us they had an easy run and still draw points. Their next few games, I'm only talking league, but their next league game is Wolves. That's obviously the last game before international break. They come out of the international break. They play Burnley away, like
Oh
Okay,
wow,
that
those are some
again,
easy games.
those should be 6 points, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then after that, they play Arsenal at home. So
Ooh, that's gonna be an
I'm
interesting game.
yeah, I'm a chill on this one. I mean, game week 10, we're giving our assessment. We'll see what happens. Should be 6 points game week 11. Sorry, should be 3 points game week 11. Should be 3 points game week 12, and then game week 13 they play Chelsea, and we'll have a very good assessment of where Chelsea's at. It might be by game 13, game week 13, where I could be like, you know what, I was wrong. Chelsea are stronger based off of how they play against league leading Arsenal right now. We'll see whether they're still league leading Arsenal then. But league leading Arsenal, and then also with how these other teams play, we'll be able to discuss it. Now, I just got a notification. We've got another agent backstage. Let me introduce this agent, and again, we got to stay coded up. So tell me or see this, and let me know if you guys can guess who this is. Let me find their intro. Did you guys get that? Did you guys see that? If you didn't see it, let me do that one more time for you guys. This next agent to join us. Agent Kim in the building. What are you saying, Kim?
Clinical, agent clinical. But
Clinical. My bad.
it's all good, bro. Thank you for having me on. And it's good to have a chat with you guys again.
Yo, it's been a minute. Let me do that intro properly. What I was messing up there. That's me trying to move too fast. Clinical, man, it's been a minute. I know you've had a lot going on in the personal life. You've had a lot going on in the football life. You wanna let us know how things are? Where'd you watch the game today?
Well, I don't work on Sundays, so I was lucky to be home today. I got
Nice.
to get a good watch of the game. I'm usually working on Saturdays, so that can be a bit tricky sometimes, because I am driving when I'm working, so I get to listen to the game, and that's pretty much it. But
All right.
and that's also why I only got to see a bit of the Chelsea Spurs game that you guys are speaking on. But I want to go back and rewatch that game because I have heard a lot of interesting narratives come out of that. And I do have to say, while we're still on the topic of Chelsea,
Yeah.
I'm not fully convinced that this is a fully serious team yet. I think they're gonna really struggle for consistency this season from what I've seen so far. That's aside from them being one of the most unruly teams so far this season with all the red cards they've been getting.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you look at their back line, their keepers, he's very shaky form wise. He's on a decent run now, but we know that around the corner is another bozo from him.
Do you think he should ever be
their
compared to
center backs-
Donnarumma?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I got asked in the preseason who was worse between him and Onana, and the fact that I had to really stop and think. I did give it to Sanchez that he was better than Onana, but that's the type of conversations I would have him in.
I got that. If I were to ever be asked the question, I would
silence.
I'd tell them silence right from the beginning. Don't even finish what you have to say. Comparing Donnarumma to Sanchez makes absolutely no sense. I don't know what you're trying to compare. If you're trying to compare bozo moments, who's got the better bozo moments, then okay, that's Sanchez. But there's no other thing that you want to compare Donnarumma and Sanchez to. When we talk about Donnarumma, and let me also interject a little bit with regards to today's game, because we all got a chance to watch it. I think the ref was a little not the ref. The PGMOL have been inconsistent with how they judge contact with a keeper or not. I think despite the stature of what Donnarumma is, he was impeded to begin that action. And I think if he wasn't, he's more commanding. He has a cleaner cleaner contact with trying to clear that ball or punch that ball. So I don't know where they are with it. Obviously, us as City, we're going to take that and continue to move on, and I think that's the attitude. The refs aren't going to do you any favors, but the PGMOL are so inconsistent when it comes down to that, and I'm glad we were able to get the win with that. Now, Clinical, you talked about inconsistencies you see from Chelsea. I don't think you're going to get any answers from them playing Wolves and them playing Burnley. Yes, they got UCL games, but I'm not going to include that because we know styles can be different based off the UCL. Do you think it's fair to wait until they play Arsenal to be like, okay, I'm concrete with what I've been thinking, or whatever differences I see in that game, I'll hold on to that and then move on. Hit the like button, people watching. Be a part of the show. Be in the comments if you disagree with what we think. If you happen to think that Chelsea are better than what we rate or worse than what we rate, let us know. But Clinical, do you think we learn anything when they play Wolves, Burnley, or we got to wait for Arsenal?
I do think that it'd be much wiser to look at them over the next 3 games and to take too much from the analysis of the next 2 games, because these should be winnable games. That being said, Sunderland at home should have been a winnable game. I know they're pretty high up in the table, yes. I'm not saying that's an easy game, but I certainly didn't predict them to lose that game, much less drop points. So that's kind of what I mean in terms of Chelsea with the expectation versus what you actually get from them. João Pedro, who was looking like one of their best players coming into the season, what was it, 5 games that he didn't have a shot in or something like that, which is absolutely crazy. So stuff like this doesn't bode well. I know Liverpool went to Burnley and they scraped a 1-0 win at the end of the game. I think that game is up in the air. Anything can happen, it's football, the Premier League that we all love. So
hold on, Clinical. Kels, if Chelsea drop points to Wolves or Burnley, I'm running them off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write them off. I'm gonna be like, hey, and it's never gonna be the I told you so. We're working in tandem. We're a partnership over at CIA. But I am gonna say, Conway, Kels, do you guys want to change your assessment with regards to Chelsea? If they drop points to Wolves and Burnley, I think we got to revisit it. Is that fair?
100%.
Okay. All right. We're gonna be balanced.
I still think they're fourth, and I think they're fourth. Like, I think the gap between 1, 2, and 3 and 4. I think the gap between 3 and 4 is really big. Like, I think we'll probably be at least whoever finishes in third. I think can finish they could finish 10 points ahead of Chelsea. I think they will make Champions League football, and I think fourth is their ceiling.
That's
but
fair.
I think there's the final step to the top 3. I think it's gonna be a big gap. And I don't see them.
We got to talk about the
like
top
I said,
3.
they drop a lot of dumb points.
We got to talk about the top 3, 100%. Let me add this I'm going to work on a CIA. I want a CIA nice transition, but as of now, obviously Vator Games TV, we're going to keep it kind of simple.
Vator Games.
Okay. Today on CIA, we're going to deal with City last. All right. We know our club. We discuss our club all the time, right? Over at True City Fan, please go over, subscribe. I'm going to have that channel as well as everyone's ats in the description as well. So please stay subscribed. You'll be informed. Liverpool, guys. Liverpool. Let me give you my quick 2 cents. When we talk CIA agendas, this is the one that I'm pushing. Last year's title win was fraudulent. It was fraudulent, not that they did earn it, not that they won't be recognized as winners. Absolutely they were. But it's fraudulent, much like their COVID title, in terms of Arsenal and City fell off. Fell off. Now, credit. Liverpool were able to stay consistent. They were able to go on and win it. They were able to look that good. But the reason why I say it's fraudulent is because look at how they ended the season. There was no threats from City, no threats from Arsenal. And look at how the Liverpool fans, I love taking a step back, guys. I love just, you know what? I'm gonna be quiet for a minute. Let me hear what the rivals say. Liverpool fans were talking about how poorly they finished that season. Liverpool fans have talked about how Arnie was looking like he was messing up already. So when they were at many of them are Arnie out already. Many are Arnie out already. I have to actually put some more strength in that take in terms of last season was a fraudulent one where they weren't tested, and this season actually being tested, I think a lot's being revealed. Liverpool third right now, 18 points in the league. They're behind us. They won the league last year. They spent 400 and something million. They're having results now after having one win in 6? One win in 7. They had 1 win in 7 or 6 losses in 7, however you want to phrase it. But 1 win in 7, and they're now looking good not having the players that they spent money on. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the Liverpool game or even checked it a little bit, but this result that they had getting back on the winning track, Conway, it didn't involve Verts, it didn't involve Isak, and it did not involve Kirkez or Frankpong. So
Yeah.
2 of them are injured, so that's part of it.
Part of it is injured. Now, when they were playing, they weren't looking much better. So it's one of those where, because we've seen this, managers kind of fall into form because they had no other choice. Like they had to play this player, and then the discovery.
Yeah.
We're kind of seeing that with some of our players, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that a little later. But Conway, this Liverpool finally being tested. What's been revealed to you? What's been revealed to you, even if you want to go back to when they had the 5 for 5, they were winning 5 in a row, to when the slip for when their poor form happened, or even with regards to what's been revealed to you with regards to the transfer window that was touted as the best ever? What's really glaring for you when you think Liverpool?
I think the thing that's the most glaring when I'm watching Liverpool now is how poor their transfer window was. You look at the total amount of money that was spent. I mean, the ability to go as a football club and say that we're going to break the British transfer fee record twice in a single window, and then close to their total spend being $500 million, just purely based on that and looking at the numbers that they spend in the summer window, that you would think this Liverpool team being the current Premier League champions, that it's now going to be the norm for them to have their first ever back-to-back Premier League trophy. But now that you're 10 games into the Premier League season now, you understand that some of these players you will better off not purchasing. You look at the example of Florian Wirtz. Liverpool fans were begging in the summer transfer window to buy a number 10. I mean, last season you played with a 6 in Gravenberch, and you had Szoboszlai doing the runs for the McAllister, who McAllister to me is a natural number 8, who you can play in 10 further up the pitch in some games. That can work. So you had a midfield that was very functioning last season, and credit to Slot, he did make Gravenberch be the player that he is last season. I don't think Klopp knew what to do with Gravenberch when he bought him. But now that you add in the likes of Wirtz into this team, I don't see how Wirtz changes games. He comes and he does couple flare passes and the 1-2 tricks there, but what are you really changing in terms of influencing this Liverpool attack? Kirkers right now looks like he wasn't the player that we were watching at Bournemouth last season.
Nope.
He wasn't. The Kirkers at Bournemouth last season was a player that was in the team of the season when he was coach under Iraola at Bournemouth. Why can't Slot have that same Kirkers be playing for this Liverpool team? Whenever I see Kirkers across Liverpool's backline, I know for a fact they're going to concede a goal. And every single time Kirkers has played for Liverpool this season, they've conceded a goal. The game yesterday, who started Robertson, they kept a clean sheet. So they're going back to their old ways in terms of what they were doing. In terms of what they were doing last season, to try and see if they can win games. And even the game that I watched yesterday against Villa, that didn't really convince me that Liverpool are back on track. I mean, the first goal that they conceded was Martinez giving the ball away very poorly. Salah scored, and the Gravenberch goal was a deflected shot. So their 2 goals that they scored yesterday were just mistakes by the Villa team, and Villa were very poor yesterday. So I haven't seen Liverpool, even at the start of the season where they went on those 5 games in a row, I was telling Liverpool fans that the way that you're winning games right now is unsustainable, because you're relying on your players to score last-minute winners in all of these games.
I see the comments.
But you're still conceding goals.
Absolutely.
Conceding goals.
shout out to everybody in the mix. I see you in the comments. Listen, bless to my man Staffy TV. Listen,
Cute
great
fries.
channel. American Waffle. Monday will be fun. Monday will be fun. Go and show some love over there at Staffy TV. And another one is TJ Warner. TJ Warren TV. He's the ops, but he says big up Vator. Obviously, big up the panel as well. Enjoy game week 10. TJ, Arsenal are doing their thing so far. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow for sure. These guys
Never Staffy, never.
Nah, I can't give it up. AI is in the building. Blessed to Clinical and Conway, part of the show. Absolutely. Now, these ops need to understand that City aren't looking so good and getting results. The same way Conway was pointing out, he was warning Liverpool fans, like, hey, you're getting results, but it's not sustainable. You're relying on these extra minute times to get these games sealed up. How long can you make that happen? So reminding them was so fitting. And I think what's going to be interesting with regards to Liverpool is they had a complete rebrand this summer. Like, they're the media darlings. We know that. There's no surprises there. They're always going to be talked about in a positive way with regards to all the pundits and everything like that. But the fact that they went out and broke the transfer record, the fact that they were spending like that, it was all now a positive. It wasn't ruining football the way it was discussed when City were doing it. It wasn't ruining football when Chelsea were doing it. We were ruining football when City and Chelsea were doing it, but it wasn't ruining football with Liverpool. It wasn't ruining football or breaking the whole football pyramid because of what they were doing with Verts breaking the transfer record. They are bragging about getting Ekitike and Isak. They were bragging like, yeah, that's what big clubs do. That's what FSG. They've got it. I think it's going to be so much pressure that they're not accustomed to. TJ wants to say 6 points clear, not a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal in 22-23, was it either?
I guess he's saying it's not a big deal that you're 6 points up, like this is a routine thing, or it's not a big deal because 6 points can be closed pretty easily. I'm not sure which one you're flexing there, TJ.
Especially an Arsenal fan, because you had a 6 point lead in 23, didn't you? And then what happened?
Leading the league for 93%. Like maybe that's what he means. It means nothing because he's led the league for 93%. He still lost it, so 6 points right now.
240 days. 240 days at the top of the table. What did that get you?
They're telling me it's a different season. But we'll talk about Arsenal. We're going to go in on Arsenal. Liverpool and what they did, rebranding, spending's okay. This is what big clubs do. Breaking the transfer record. Oh, that's all good. But the pressure put on these players. Is going to be insane. History books. We hear about history way more from Arsenal fans than anybody else. Liverpool, they didn't look good, in my opinion, getting this result. I think it is also really concerning that they got this result having to play their old way, not playing the new way. And I know there's injuries. Like Kel's mentioned, there are some injuries. Clinical, I want to ask you, and I see you guys in the comments. I'm going to start the important ones. Now, the billion followers is worldwide. It's not just YouTube. But let's get this channel to 1 billion subscribers. Let's get this channel to 1 billion subscribers. It starts with each and every one of you. And I'm actually going to do something a little special. Hopefully, you guys can positively take part of that that are watching. But Clinical, Liverpool, big spenders, transfers, best transfer summer ever. Slot, apparently a brilliant genius manager. They're behind us in the standings. I don't see them fully dropping off, but do you see Liverpool as title contenders or title threats ahead of Arsenal?
Well. Retaining the league isn't for everybody, is it? Well, we can try, but they're not us. We've done it 4 in a row, and they're struggling after they've done it the quote unquote easy way, and they're struggling this much to put themselves together. And right now I think is the best time to really sit back and take a look at the table, because I like to break up the season into 10, 10, 10, 8,
Okay.
basically to analyze it a bit better. So right now I'm just looking at the start of the season from everybody. They started off very well. What was it, 6 wins in a row, and then they just completely fell off. 5 games in a row, and then they just fell off. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which is very worrying. I think their biggest issue right now is their manager as opposed to the signings. I
Ooh.
find it very surprising that he can't. What I saw from him last season, I thought he was very good tactically in terms of setting his team up well. I thought he got a very good understanding of what his players were able and were not able to give him,
Okay.
and use that, as well as the fact that there weren't really any challengers. But to be fair to them, they did their job week after week, winning all those games. A lot of them weren't amazing, but they accumulated their 3 points very similarly to what Arsenal is doing right now. But with these good players that they have, because I firmly still think the players that they signed are good players. Kirkes, the jury's still out on him. I'm not writing him off as horrible yet. He might not be ready for this level. So
Not horrible yet.
there's still a long part of the season to go.
Okay.
It's 10 games he's played at this level. So I'm still assessing him. But
Okay.
it's not looking good, to say the least. So right now I'm looking at Slot to see what he has in store to fix this, because to be consistent, a lot of what was happening last season, I was looking at Pep to kind of make some changes
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
tactically. We have our preferred way of playing, but if it's not working, I would love to see you try something else, do something different, and hopefully you can change our fortunes. And at
Okay.
the end of the day, that's his job, because the moment the results get too bad, you usually lose your job, and a lot of fans are calling for Slot's head.
A lot. And
So
this is why I say last season was fraudulent, Clinical, because how does a manager deliver a prem? We know how difficult a prem is. We know how difficult winning a prem. How does a manager deliver that? Because they're carrying on like Liverpool are carrying on like they're the new Chelsea. They have one summer of spending money like Chelsea, and now they think they can get rid of managers like Chelsea. They're only game week 10, and they want to fire Slot for a drop in form. I I don't get it. I don't get it. If he really was so brilliant, if he really did a madness last year, tactical genius, adjusting in the second half, right? He's going to be the main threat to Pep, not Arteta. Why would players be so quick? Sorry, why would fans be so quick to be like, Slot, you're out of here? If they really believe the hype. Now, you want to see some adjustments, and I want to ask Kels real quick. Kels, what are the major pluses? What are the strengths of Liverpool? What is it that, you know what, they're going to continue to be in the mix for these factors? Do you have a short list of maybe some key things on why Liverpool aren't going away, why they're going to be why they're going to have a say in this title race?
I just think it's their attack. They have so many like really good players. Mo Salah is still a world class player, although I don't know. He hasn't shown his quality yet this season. I don't know if it's like a system change or does he really miss Trent? That could be a big factor. But I'm not
Mm,
I'm not completely ready to write Mo Salah off, especially after that great season he had last season. Isak is still a very quality player. He's struggling to fit in, and now he's injured, so that's not going to help him. But I do think Ekatike was a really smart pickup. I really rate that guy. I think and I didn't rate him to start the season, but I'm actually very impressed with how seamlessly he's kind of slotted into that team. There's been talk of other players who were supposed to slot in seamlessly with their team, other strikers
mm.
going to teams that needed strikers, and they've looked like hot dog shit. Excuse the language, but
No, it's fair.
but Ekatike, I think, just slid right into that team, and I think they were playing better with him. And I think buying Isak was a mistake for them because they already like Ekatike kind of did that, and they're just creating unnecessary drama between the two of them because there's going to be
Yeah.
what if. But I do think that's a lot of potency with Mo Salah, and then if they can find the midfield balance, I think that is like potentially those are like 6 or 7, like depending on what formation they play. Those are like really really strong attackers. Like I think
Ha-
I thought their midfield balance last season was great.
Yeah, it was.
And it's weird to think that it would get worse adding a player as quality as Florian
Right?
is.
This
Yeah.
is where I bring Conway in. This is where we got that pressure point, Conway. This is where we can like really, because again, CIA. If anyone knows the history of CIA, the CIA are kind of known, or maybe it's not known, it's not documented, maybe it's not official, but they've destabilized, right? Us at Citeh Intelligent Agendas, we take credit for what's happened at other clubs, like the firing of certain managers, planting the seed in terms of certain players not being good enough, the fan base is giving up quickly. This is what we do. So we got to plant the seed. We got to apply pressure on certain points. And when it comes down to Liverpool, they had the balance last year. They went out and got Isak, got Ekatike, got Verts, Kirkes, Frimpong. The fact that they can't find the balance after getting so much good talent, so much improvement based off of the previous season, is the players, Conway? Is it the manager being sussed out? Where do you want to place this? Where's the vulnerability over at Liverpool?
I think it's both really. I think the players have to take a lot of blame when it comes to Liverpool being as poor as they've been over the past month, and the manager as well. One on the manager is when I saw that Chelsea game as an example where they lost. Chelsea had no centre backs available that game.
Yes. Yep.
That to me, which when I saw the lineup first before watching that game, I thought, yeah, this is going to be an easy win for Liverpool. You're looking at maybe them scoring 3+ goals since Chelsea's backline was horrible. I mean, they just had a backline for the fullback.
Great answer.
But going into that game and watching that game, I saw Chelsea actually dominate them, not only just on the ball, and you had Slot's comments, which have been absolutely shocking so far this season.
Yeah.
When I mean his comments, his post-match press conferences, and what he said after the game. Multiple times I've seen Slot's comments after the game, they've been shocking. And in that particular game, he was talking about how Chelsea kept the ball too much in the air, and he was basically slating them in that regard. But if you see their winning goal, the goal that Esteban scored in the last minute, not one time did Chelsea kick the ball in the air. They played
that was across goal. Yeah.
That was across the goal. Enzo played a pass to Cucurella crosses it, and Enzo taps it in. But I think in that game, what he did was he brought on Curtis Jones and Wirtz, had them play as a double pivot. You got Szoboszlai, who's your right back, and then you have Frimpong as your right winger. What are we doing here, man? None of that makes any sense. I mean, the amount of times I've seen Slot deploy Szoboszlai as his right back, and these were games where Frimpong was still available to be utilised as a right back. What are you doing? Are you trying to do what we're doing with Nunes? But we have to do that with Nunes since we don't have an actual right back across the entire squad. But you have Frimpong, the Conor Bradleys of the world available to you at your disposal, but you still decide to deploy Szoboszlai as your right back. So that's where Slot's mistake is with regards to how we're setting up his Liverpool 11. And when I'm looking at the players for Liverpool, and I'm talking about the more experienced guys, Virgil van Dijk this season, and I know people don't love to talk about it because they've always labelled him as the quote-unquote greatest centre-back the Premier League has ever seen, which I disagree with, by the way. It's a shocking take. He's a top centre-back.
He's top, but yeah.
Virgil van Dijk this season has been shocking.
Yep.
That game against United when Mbeumo ran through and goal, and he's telling Konate, he's pointing towards Konate, telling him, yo, track that guy. When you're even at that point when Mbeumo's making that run, you're more closer to Mbeumo than Konate is.
Yep.
His leadership and how he's played on the football pitch today has been shocking. So the experienced players of Liverpool, the Mo Salahs of the world, the Van Dijks of the world, and even the guys that have won the Premier League last season, McAllister, who has been shocking. I mean, the audacity of Liverpool fans to label McAllister as a world-class midfielder after he's only had one season where, fair play, you guys won the league, but in order for you to become world-class, I need one thing, and that's consistency. I haven't seen that McAllister yet. The McAllister last season, I haven't seen him this season. So there's players within that Liverpool team who are more experienced than the new guys that they brought in who have been shocking as well. So which one is it? We can't just blame the new guys. I'm also looking at Van Dijk. You're the captain of Liverpool. How are you leading these guys? So that's why I say it's not just a manager thing, but it's also a player thing.
Now, I wanna put this on screen because you brought up players as well as manager, and I agree with you. Hopefully this shows up well. Actually, is there a way for me to... I'll do it another time. But I think the vulnerability, I think the pressure points for Liverpool, where I'm going to emphasize as much as I can when I feature on other shows, it's going to be Arne Slot. I'm gonna apply pressure on that point. I think there's a vulnerability. We've seen the fan base; they're already ready to split. at game week 10 and they're like slot out. So I'm going to continue to apply pressure on the Arnie conversation. I'm also, until it changes, until we actually see good performances, not some lazy G, not some lazy A, a goal, an assist of quality. Until we see one from Verts, I'm on him. He's going to get the same pressure, guys. He is going to get the same pressure that our man currently on loan at Everton got. Regardless of the games that we were winning, the fact that we were relying on him, maybe not to deliver the G&A, but we saw the control that Grealish would give us on that left wing. We saw how he would hold possession, win some fouls for us, slow the game down, let us reassess defensively. I'm going to be on Verts' neck. I'm going to be...
Vator, do you know what's shocking?
Wow.
Vator, do you know what's shocking?
Violent delights.
How does Grealish for Everton have more goal contribution than West? That's for Liverpool.
Thank you.
Oh, Ryan Turkey has more today than Verts does.
No. Wait, this is Grealish playing for Everton team who has, to me, in my opinion, the worst striker in the league better. How does Grealish playing with the worst striker in the league have more goal contribution for Everton than Liverpool with Wirtz?
Exactly. And Verts is surrounded by way more talent.
Yep.
Listen, the CIA agendas are going to be perfect, and we're going to continue to apply pressure. I think this will, if we can destabilize this Liverpool, we're going to be better suited for winning this league. Now, I want to ask, when we look at the next two games, and this is where I am going to include Champions League and League, because again, this is different with regards to looking at Liverpool. Liverpool, obviously, they got their result this past weekend. Okay, their next game happens to be versus Real Madrid. They play Real Madrid on Tuesday. Wait, what am I looking at? Yeah. So
the Champions League game.
This is a game where obviously we got to watch ourselves play first and foremost, but watching how Real Madrid, and again, I give credit to the manager over there. All right, everybody wanted him, well sought after. He's now got the big job. He's got the Real Madrid job. I want to see his tactical mind. I want to see what he's done to maybe set Real Madrid up to play against Liverpool. And I'm going to be watching that game. We're going to be studying that game and then see how we can maybe have an advantage when we play them on Sunday at our house. But Liverpool have Real Madrid then us, right? 5 days difference in terms of like they play on Tuesday, then play on Sunday. Big game. We need this result, obviously. Again, it's only going to be game week 11. I'm not going to say if we happen to drop points that the league is over. Too much can happen, but I would have a lot more chess. I would be a lot more comfortable with us continuing on pursuing for this title race if we get this win at home versus Liverpool. Clinical, do you get a chance to watch Champions League game? Are you going to be, obviously you're going to watch our game, but are you going to keep an eye and see how Liverpool perform versus Real Madrid?
Well, with just my luck, I'm actually off this Tuesday, but I will be working on Wednesday. So okay. I'll have more trouble watching our game. It's very likely I'll have to catch the replay of that one, but I will get to see all of this Liverpool Real Madrid game. And I don't fancy Liverpool's chances, to be honest with you, bro. That's gonna be real. Madrid, they just came off that Clasico win, didn't they? Did they win their
game? Yeah. They won versus Barcelona. They actually looked good.
And then 4-0 against Valencia yesterday. So they're coming into this game with some form and some confidence. Just to remind everyone, we had our 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest in the middle of our poor run. So this win against Villa looked a lot like that. So
True.
I need to see something more convincing before I think they've turned a corner.
Now, we got to sprinkle in the agenda points. I don't like the fact, Clinical kind of brought it up, but he didn't really, he kind of touched on it, but he didn't really apply it. Agenda point, I don't like that Liverpool are going to have an extra day's rest. All right? Liverpool are going to have an extra day's rest because they play on Tuesday, we play on Wednesday, and then we're going to be playing. So I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I would prefer if we had the same amount of rest between the two of us. Yes, I know we're not traveling, but neither is Liverpool. Liverpool are going to, that's not much of a travel from Liverpool to the city, right? Yeah. Exactly. So they do have an advantage, and I will be speaking that. I will be putting that out there. Liverpool have an extra day's rest when they do have to play City on Sunday. So that's a CIA point that we're going to be putting out there. I see in the building. Nah, don't tell me. Come on, nah. It's an extra day's rest. It's important. Player fitness and all that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna put that out. Everybody recognize when we talk about possible things to consider in this matchup, it will be it will be an extra day's rest for Liverpool. Now, I want to keep this clean. Hold on, let me do this. This club's been a problem, guys.
Vator game.
This club's been a problem. I have to click on Arsenal. They're top of the league, 25 points, 10 matches played, 8 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. The 1 loss came to them playing versus Liverpool, if I'm correct.
Yeah, at Anfield.
Yeah, and I think that was just a 1-0 with a Szoboszlai free kick. But Arsenal, I'm being told that this is Arsenal's year. I'm being told that this level of defense that they have is league leading. They'll possibly break the Chelsea goals conceded record in terms of 15. 10 games, they've only conceded 3 goals. I think it's all fun right now. I think it's all great. I think it's all vibes. If there's any club, if there's any fan base that live off vibes, it's Arsenal. I want to see how they react when the pressure hits, because I've seen them falter when the pressure hits. So it's not a wait and see. It's when things kind of build up. That's when I think we need to be in our close proximity, our arm's reach, striking distance to capitalize. So they look good. I want to ask you, Conway, do you think the way they are so defensive is a reason why they're a little poor in their creation or delivery of non-set piece goals? Do you think because of how defensive minded they are, it's impacted on how free-flowing goal scoring they could be? Or do you think it's just the style of the manager?
No, 100%. I do think that does hinder their creativity. I mean, when you're always fielding at 11 that has 4. I mean, Timber's a natural centre back, but you can't play him right back, and the same thing goes with Calafiori. And you have 2 DMs and Zubimendi and Declan Rice. That's of course going to hinder your creativity. So Arteta's always approaching games thinking that, one, we're either going to score when the opposition makes mistakes where they give out silly passes and our attackers can get a goal scoring opportunity from that. And 2 is the ability to score from their set pieces, their corners and whatnot. And they've even become the North London version of Stoke City with their long throws, which has been another Arsenal, no pun intended, but for them to score goals. But I think the opportunity to score more open play goals, they will get that once the likes of Gilcroy start to be benched. Because I do think it does hinder them in terms of their ability to score open play goals. I know he scored against Burnley, but we're not rating that goal. It's a very simple tap-in. After Gabriel, by the way, Gabriel's an absolute cheat code when it comes to their set pieces. I have to give it to that guy. I think Gabriel's been the best centre-back in the league so far this season. Not just going forward in terms of what he helps them scoring goals in set pieces, but also when it comes to the defense, I think he's become a leader. And over the past couple of seasons, it's been questioned whether it's Saliba or Gabriel who leads that centre-back partnership, but I think it's Gabriel in my honest opinion. Jurriën Timber's been quality for them this season as well. I think the only person that's better than him in the right back, in my opinion, is Reece James.
Fair.
Zubimendi has been a quality addition in terms of their midfield. Declan Rice as well, but the fact that they're currently top of the league and they're 17th in terms of open play goals is worrying, because we did see glimpses of Arsenal last season where they were only the majority of their goals were coming from set pieces. We're seeing that again early this season. So whether that's going to be something that changes, because there will be games where, as an example, our game where we didn't let Arsenal score a goal from set piece. There will be games like that where Arsenal are going to have to try and see what their forward line
Yeah.
can develop to see how they can score an open play goal and what are those games going to look like. We haven't seen that yet since every game now in the Premier League so far they scored from a set piece. What is that going to look like when you're struggling to not score a goal from a set piece? Then we'll see. But I think right now Arsenal do deserve to be top of the league purely because of their defense.
I
But
agree.
what is that going to look like after another 10 games?
Exactly. And I think it's one of those, and I want to apologize everyone that's watching right now. I just got a request. I got to run an errand, so I realize that I'm going to be cutting this show short. But I'm so appreciative of everyone in the comments and the like button. What Conway says is spot on. The defense, great. Arsenal's defense have been so good, and Gabriel, I'm not gonna hate. He's been very good. Saliba partnership, very good. Gabriel is the leader amongst that. Timber, you can't hate on that. Calafiori, he's doing his thing, but I think
I don't rate him.
I don't really rate him like that either. But I think from every all 11 defend is so spot on, well organized, well coached. I think Arteta has them playing well defensively. It's going to be a question on, all right, let's see, because all these clubs are going to be tinkering on how they want to defend versus Arsenal. So when they have that first resolute, that difficult spell, we'll see, because we know the other clubs are going to mimic, apply an element of it, a little bit of a copycat, and see how much they can break this down. That was part of the Liverpool spell of having poor runs, because once they suffered that first loss, many of the teams that then faced them applied the same thing, a mid to low block, and said try to break us down, and Liverpool weren't having success. We'll see what gets success for an opponent versus Arsenal.
Yeah,
but
Vator, just a quick point of what you said earlier, just very quick. What you said about Chelsea's record. Arsenal brilliant defensively, but I don't think no team ever is going to break that record. That's how I forgot to say it about. I don't think no one's ever going to break that record.
Wait till they face some teams like I'll be interested to see how they deal with Chelsea and Bournemouth in particular.
I think that record will forever be Chelsea's. I think that record will forever be Chelsea. I don't think no one's ever.
That record's a madness. And
we laid the blueprint on how to beat Arsenal, and we just ran out of gas. But we were a minute away from beating them. Yeah, and we took away all their strengths, and our defense just ran out of gas because it was early in the season. We didn't have the momentum or anything like that. We didn't have the fitness. And that's what happens when you have to play John Stones and Nathan Ake. They're not good enough to keep up with the top players anymore. So that's kind of what happened. But we laid the blueprint out. Other teams just have to follow it. Give them the ball. They don't know what to do with it. I think they lack a lot of quality going forward. And I think I'm gonna dog on him really quick, but I don't rate Declan Rice at all on the ball. I think he's a big problem. I think he's a big reason why they're not creating the chances. I think he's just not good on ball. I don't think he's a good passer. I don't think he's a good creator. I don't think he dribbles very well. I think he's an excellent defensive player, but I don't rate him as a creative 8 or an 8. Yeah. I just don't rate him as an 8. I think he needs to be either a 6 or a center back. Like that's how poor I think he is on ball.
Kels, he's the defensive version of Szoboszlai. He's got an engine for all 90 minutes. Yeah. He strikes the ball very well. If you give him a set piece, he'll strike the ball corners. But in terms of like the visual, the creativity, the ball distribution, especially vertically, he ain't it. But
he's not it at all. And I think that's why they're kind of wasting Gyökeres. And there's talks of Kai Havertz taking Gyökeres' place when he gets healthy, because I think they do play better with a false 9 because you could create a midfield overload with a false 9.
Our agendas are going to be
Declan Rice's deficiencies on ball, strictly on ball. Off ball, I think he's one of the best. He's probably the best off ball midfielder in the league. I do rate him very highly there. I just don't rate him going forward at all.
Apparently, he's the best set piece taker in the world too. So I heard that one this week.
Oh, Declan Rice. Wow. Just another overrated English player, right?
Wait, is it the North London derby next for Arsenal in the Premier League?
They play Chelsea, I think. I think after the break, a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks after the break or something. Because Vator said Chelsea play. I think they play Tottenham. The third game is against Arsenal.
They're away to Sunderland next, and then after the break, they play Spurs.
That's gonna be a tricky game away to Sunderland. Because Sunderland, I think Sunderland, I know it's at home, but they could roll in with that 5-4-1. And I think that would completely nullify Arsenal.
Sunderland how many goals have they conceded this season? It's not a lot. They're
very good. That's going to be a great game. Yeah, that's going to be a very
7 goals this season. That's less than us.
I hope it's not a 12:30 game because I'm not
They're
getting
It
up
is.
for
It
that.
It is a
They're the
12:30. It is a
second-best
12:30.
defense
I'm
in
not
the league.
watching that game then because that's 4:30 in the morning for me. I only get up at 4:30 in the morning for City. I'm too old to do that.
Oh no! Hold
Too
on.
much.
That's 12:30 my time. So that means that's gonna be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
So it's
after.
9.
Okay, it's
That's
the late
9:30.
game. Oh.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. I forgot I'm missing it because I'm going. My vacation starts on Friday, so
Oh,
I will
nice.
not be
Vacation
watching any
Kels?
games for 9 days, something like that. I'll watch the City replays, but I won't be watching any of the rivals.
Nice.
The last thing I just want to say on
go
Arsenal,
ahead.
the last point. One concern I do have with them is the last game they've not scored in was against Liverpool at the end of August. So it does seem like they have that a bit of inevitability about them, at least for right now, where they just find a way, whether it's one of the 5 non-set piece goals they've scored this season, or with a set piece like they have been since however long they've been doing this Stoke thing. So that is a bit of a worry I have, that who is really gonna stop them from scoring again to break that momentum so that they can start getting in their heads again, because we know how good they are at doing that.
Well, my thing,
But
Clinical,
perhaps-
is they don't really score goals at a high clip though, right? Like even look at Crystal Palace, it was 1 goal. Burnley are trash, and they only scored 2 versus them, and they weren't even like, it didn't look like they were going to score a high number of goals. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they play. They're going to deal with their Champions League, right? But this Sunderland game to close out before going to international break, a lot's going to be on display. A lot's going to be learned. And again, let's see how Sunderland's set up defensively. I want everybody in the chat. I see the numbers. Hit that like button, subscribe. You've just come through as I got the request. Again, I got the request. I'm going to have to deal with this, Aaron. But we didn't get a chance. We didn't get a chance to talk about City. But we need to. And I want to talk about City with Clinical, with Conway, with Kells, and any other agents that are able to join. Because we've had some meltdowns. We've suffered 3 losses already. But no one's brilliant. No one's brilliant.
Yeah.
Players are coming back healthy. We have, I think, a special player in Holland. He's in special form this year. And let's see when we get the players acclimated like Ait Nori, like Shirky, and Reinders. We're gonna need his legs in the midfield. So let's just settle down a little bit. I want to thank agents Kells, Conway, and Clinical for being a part of the show. Thank you, each and every one of you in the comments. I see you, Fox in the building. Big up, good looking out. We are going to be back with another CIA. I'm going to find the right time slot, but I do want it to be Sundays after the league's been played. Let us have a kind of, let's digest. Let's apply some pressure for the upcoming games. I'm going to refine the whole format, but I'm so thankful to be able to have a panel show with you guys. And please enjoy. Anything you guys want to shout out before you go? What you might be featuring on, what you got going on tonight or maybe tomorrow?
I know Patrick's doing a review tomorrow. I don't know if I'm joining that or not, but Patrick will do that. I'll do a preview on Tuesday for the Dortmund game.
Okay, true City fan. I'm gonna make sure the details are gonna be in the description of this channel. Clinical, Conway's always representing Twitter X. He's gonna be featured whenever he can. So I'm gonna make sure his @ is there. And my man Clinical in the building. Great to speak to you again, man. I know you got a lot going on. Bless City fans, rivals. Thank you for being a part of the show. I'm Vator Games. Enjoy this outro, and I'm gonna catch you next show.